Hello, and thank you for joining me. I'm going to get right to it. The landscape has shifted, and I know you feel this if you're a coach, an expert, a service provider, whatever it is. If you work in the online space and you use social media to get clients, you felt the shift. Plummeting engagement and reach on social media, particularly the book of face. It's like so suspect. I don't even want to say it in case they're listening, right? But plummeting engagement, plummeting reach, working 3, 4, 5 times as hard just to book the same amount of calls. And then when you book the calls, what happens? Everybody takes longer to commit. So we're in this this moment where the ground is shifted underneath us and a lot of people aren't even aware of it. So what I'm going to talk about today specifically is how to use strategic partnerships to grow and set yourself up for success in 2025. Now, most people approach partnerships wrong. And so I'm going to get very specific here and very detailed, very granular for you. Partnerships are you've got traffic and someone else has an offer that makes sense for your traffic or your audience, let's say. Or you've got a great offer and somebody else has the audience or the traffic. That is the most common and sort of the least likely to create problems kind of partnership. There are other partnerships as well, such as teaming up with somebody who has complementary skills to yours so that you can move faster together. And I think that we're going to find throughout this video that whether you're looking for a skill partner or somebody who has the traffic or the offer, if you have the other, this is all going to be applicable. First, let me tell you the mistakes that people make when they start to think about leveraging partnerships. And the number one mistake is really strange to me. And I've made it myself, by the way. This is not me judging from on high. I've made this mistake myself. And that is we tend to want to partner with people for some reason who have the same skills as us. And the mentality kind of goes like this. Well, if one copywriter is good, 2 must be better, right? Yes and no, right? What I want to just say as a general rule is it's going to get muddy, it's going to get confusing, it's going to get difficult, and it's going to move slow if you just partner with people who have the same skills as you. You have to be able to bring something meaningful to the table. And so if you were going to partner, I would say simultaneously, you want to be thinking about 2 key things. On this side, you want to be thinking about what are all the things that I bring? And I'm using my hands here as though it were a list because I'm suggesting that you create a list. You create a list of the pieces of the overall puzzle that you provide and that are valuable. And then you assess and say, what am I missing in order to have a successful launch or offer or whatever it is you're after? And typically what we're after is just business growth, right? Exactly what that looks like and what we each need in order to facilitate that growth is going to be somewhat different, but it's going to generally kind of shake out into 2 or 3 camps. And so you got to be clear on what it is you don't do well and what it is you do well. I highly suggest really taking this whole partnership idea seriously and sitting down and getting clear to the point that you've actually written it out as to what value you bring. Now, from there, the next place that I see people maybe approaching the partnership idea wrong is they go after just individuals. I would suggest, I'll give you an example. One of the services that we provide is we do speaking gigs. We apply to speaking gigs on behalf of our clients. And we do 100 gigs a month. And so for me, yes, I will think about partnerships with somebody who's like a speaking coach. But even more, I'm looking for Facebook groups that are big, that are full of aspiring speakers. I'm looking for those websites that have the leads for speakers. You see what I'm saying? And so I'm thinking like where can I bolt on this service I provide so that it makes things better for everyone? That's the next step, is you're looking for, kind of like real compatibility. And so you really want to be careful about not approaching people who are the same as you. And here's what you're going to find. It's going to be harder than you think to think that way. For some reason, we just gravitate toward, I'm a coach, you're a coach, let's coach together. It's a terrible idea. It pans out almost 0% of the time. But if you're, for instance, really good at building funnels, but you don't have an offer, finding someone with an offer, combining forces, and there you have something, right? Because now you've got the two main pieces that are needed for, or maybe you need ads and you find somebody who runs ads but doesn't have what you do, or whatever it is. It could be the other way around completely. But the point is, look for compatibility, not similarity. And then when you approach these people, and I would start with the ones who have the most potential leverage and work down to like the individual coaches. But when you approach these people, you need to have a value proposition prepared, and now it's okay to say, hey, can we book 10, 15 minutes just to see if there's any synergy, and I'd like to partner with you if it makes sense. That's okay, but keep that call short. Better still is to have a pitch prepared. So you got to be thinking, right? None of this stuff is going to work if you just do it sort of off the cuff. But then in 2025, it doesn't appear that anything's going to work well if you do it off the cuff. We are in an era that requires strategy, and it requires us stepping things up. That's one of my big takeaways for you. So for partnerships, think about compatibility, not similarity. Compatibility, not similarity. Who has something you need that you can provide something they need in exchange? And then start with the people who have the most potential leverage. Like for me, for the speaking gig service, the speaker websites are more potential leverage than an individual speaking coach. Similarly, a big group on Facebook of aspiring speakers, better than just a speaking coach. People who help people finish their books. Most people who write books want to speak as well. So you see how I'm thinking a little bit sort of off, out of the obvious. This is what I suggest for you. And then again, finally, really take time to think about how you can add value. Now, I don't think when approaching people for partnerships, you need to sort of have that same value first approach that you would if you were trying to, let's say, get hired by somebody who was an influencer or who had, had already built success with something. This is more like you're bringing a piece that their audience needs that they don't have. And you're looking for a mutually beneficial relationship within which to do that. Whereas if you were trying to get the attention of an influencer, the strategy is, you go and assess and fix something for them and then provide it to them under the assumption they'll then want to work with you. Slightly different. And so for 2025, if I was to put a bow on this, you should be thinking more broadly than just whatever your current channels have been. And partnerships is a big one. But you got to follow what I've said and look for compatibility, not similarity. Start with people who have the most leverage and really be ready with your value pitch. Don't phone that part in. Hope this has been helpful. I'll see you guys in the next one.